In this section, we are going to talk about project selection. In this project selection section, we're going to talk about business cases as part of the project charter, Pareto analysis to help us to scope the projects, metrics, what are going to be our primary and secondary metrics, and right back into the business case. What do we consider to be the COPQ that we might capture as a result of the project? So where do projects come from? Where are we going to find our different project ideas? And we kind of show you a crossroads here, and really you're going to probably use all of these different approaches. We're going to try to point you down here on the bottom to a structured approach. But really, they'll come from all three sources, right? Some projects are blatantly obvious. Hey, I have a problem. My customer's not happy. Right, I need to do something about it. I missed my financial targets for some financial line in the business. Uh, those are going to be ones that are going to make it onto the list. There's a brainstorming approach. If right, our hopper is pretty empty. We can get all the people in a room, and we can think of, well, what are some project ideas? But what would like to take you through in the next few slides is putting some structure to selecting projects. Certainly, we can start with brainstorming. We can add in some of the blatantly obvious, but we'd really like to make sure that from a return on investment standpoint, we're working on the projects that are going to give us the best bang for our buck and the resources that we're going to expend. As we go through the slides in this section, we're going to be building up to what we would consider to be the sort of the defensible uh, words and documents that would exist in order to move a project forward. So typically we would start with a business case, and we say here it answers two primary questions. What's the business motivation for considering the project? So which of the voices does it address? What are some of the COPQ items? And then where does it live? So in which business function, which business area does the project at least start in, and then we can cross over into multiple areas if required. The charter, that's going to be the actual document we put together that really launches the product once it's approved. We may develop many charters and select the best of those charters. I've done some consulting work at various companies where maybe we put 30 charters together so that they could have a good project hopper to assign to their different belts. So we're going to take that business case, we're going to roll it into a charter, we put some more detail together, and we're going to show you all the different elements of that charter. And then finally, it's the show me the money. So if I did this and I made the improvement, what is the business benefit? So they kind of all wrap together to make sure that we have a good solid foundation before we launch the project. This is a general look at who is responsible for each one of those three pieces to launching a project. So the business case typically comes somewhere in the management structure. There should be somebody that is asking, hey, I need some help because one of my voices is complaining, right? My customer isn't happy. My financials or my yields aren't what they should be. Maybe we did an employee survey and we want to get employee engagement up. So typically the business case originates somewhere in the management structure. That doesn't mean that they don't come down and pull in masters and belts to help form them, but really sponsorship should come from the business level. When we talk about the charter, that typically falls on you, the process lead. Now it's really just to fill it out, make sure all the elements are there. You're definitely going to have to reach down for the financial part of it to your finance leads, and for wrapping the business case, right? That should have already been done up here at this level. And then the benefit analysis, again, depending on what the savings amount is going to be, it's always nice to have somebody in finance check over your numbers. They can always come up with some maybe additional places where savings can come from. I know many times when I've done a project, I might be just looking at, hey, I'm going to save this many hours by streamlining the process, and they'll come back and say, oh yeah, but you saved inventory too, and hey, the extra throughput gave us extra sales opportunities. So it's always good to have them check off on it. From a update, we say the charter, right, is a living document. We'll probably only update it at each toll gate, but if we make a change to scope or a change in direction, right, we go back and we change that. The benefits analysis, we're certainly going to confirm it in the measure phase. We'll talk about that more. As if the scope changes and things change, we might go back and revisit it. But typically, we take our first guess and define, we validate that in measure, and then we are going to right, put it into the cash register during control. So here we're saying that we might start with your current business dashboards, your key process indicators, call it right, the KPIs. Well, which ones aren't at the levels that we would like? So those make very good starting points for developing projects. So those might be any of the, all right, the things that are below. I have too many defects, it takes too long, I have some type of a revenue challenge, customer complaints. So there's the good old voice of the customer. There's that other customer, compliance with government agencies, state agencies, and then finally safety. So, right, if we have unsafe workplace conditions, right, we might do a project to increase uh, safety, things like down work days, OSHA recordable injuries. I've done quite a few of those in my career. So that would be at the first level, right? Then we're going to break those down into smaller chunks so that we have a manageable project that we can work on quickly and execute and get some results. So you'll see throughout the course, we'll talk about breaking things down into an actionable level. In the analyze phase, we'll talk about root cause analysis, and we're not really done until the root cause is at a level where we can do something with it. And the same thing is going to apply here for which business case are we going to go after with our project. And typically at the corporate level, right, or at the high division level, uh, right, it's too big, right? We have to break it down into smaller chunks. So one that I have at my current job is right. The corporation wants so much free cash flow generated every quarter. Well, hey, that's a good goal, and we should measure that. But I don't know of a single project I can do that's going to have an impact on that going forward. So we have to kind of break that down. Well, what does that mean for the different product lines? What does that mean in the different functions? And finally, right, what processes do we have to execute more efficiently in order to make that happen? So any good project selection activity is going to be able to take something from uh, the highest level and break it down to, well, what does that mean here in this uh, process activity, and how much do I have to move that? And as I add those all up, then I can get to my level one objectives. Let's look at an example. Uh, Right, our company may have determined that our material costs are too high. So, right in the good old EBIT equation, we look at our revenue and we take away our costs, and we've determined, hey, that line is too big, and one of those contributors is material cost. Well, one way to break down material cost is we could break it into what we call uh, direct materials, so those things that go into a product. So we need those in order to uh, get our end good, and or indirect materials. So the things that help support the process, different fluids and grease and boxes and right anything that supports the process but does not get attached to the final unit to be delivered to the customer. So this might be how we break it down at the first level, and then we can keep going on the next slides to break it down even further. And so it kind of follows this idea of y is a function of x as we break this down. Uh, right, we call this sometimes a focus tree or a tree diagram, but we're starting at a high level and we're going to try to break it down into this actionable level. So our material cost is a function of, right at this first level, direct materials and indirect materials. All right, so let's go down a couple more levels. If we decide that the direct materials is the biggest lever, it's the thing that we want to use, uh, that we think is the most off target, we can break that down by commodity type. So maybe I have a procurement department that buys metals, steel and aluminum, and maybe another department that does injection molding and other plastic parts. And then I can break it down even one more level. So am I talking about right the scrap levels or the metal that's used in the product itself? And so here we've gone from material cost to direct materials to metals to scrap. And you can see we're getting honed in on something I can kind of wrap my arms around and come up with a project improvement idea. So again, down here our y is a function of x. We could have picked between metals and plastics. We picked metals. If I break metals down, right, we can say the metal that's used in the product, or the scrap, the stuff that's left over after I've done uh, my processing to make the product. So what's left over, what do I throw away? So then finally, we're going to get down to a process level. So when we look at scrap, and it's metal scrap, I've got two production lines. One does drilling, the other one does stamping and punching. And looking at the data, we decide that really we can get the most bang for our buck by going after the scrap from the punch press. And so now we've gone from a material cost, very high level, down to, hey, I think I can make an impact on the scrap that's generated at the punch press. You can see how much more clearly defined and more actionable that project is going to be than, hey, I want to take away material costs. So this is what we're talking about in a tree diagram, how we focus our project down to an actionable level. Let's start to put together an example business case. So again, the business case is giving you the business reason for putting the effort in for a project. And really, I like these three bullets here, right? So what's the measure that we are going to try to improve, and that should relate back to that top level KPI through our little tree. What's where do we think we currently are? Where would we like to be? And we paint this gap, right? So we want to paint the gap in performance between where we are today and where it really needs to be in order for those voices to be satisfied, right? Our customer, the voice of the business, and the voice of the employee. So I'm always, I actually had a little logo in one of my companies that said close the gap. So what is the gap in performance that the project is going to focus on? So this is a format to put together a business case, and you can see, right, it's not meant to be very complicated. It's not meant to be very wordy. It's really supposed to get at what is the performance measure we're interested in, and what is the gap in performance to uh, where we want it to be. So, just kind of breaking it down here. First, what's the time frame we're talking about? So we give the reader, hey, where did we get the data from that we computed these numbers from? So anybody could go back and recreate the information. So it's important to have sort of a base. Is it for a whole year? Is it for 6 months? Is it for past 10 years? In this case, we're saying during the past fiscal year, the first time call resolution efficiency for hardware setup was 89%. So this is some type of a call center. Uh, People purchase hardware and then they call in to help uh, get the hardware set up. And we have an 89% efficiency where we don't have to escalate the call to a higher uh, help desk in order to resolve the situation for the customer. All right, so at 89%, they want to be at 97%. So the gap in performance is about 8%. And they're saying they've done some benchmarking, looking out into the industry, how do call centers operate. They believe that uh, we should be able to get up to about a 97% efficiency. So only 3 customers out of 100 have to be kicked up to a higher level in order to resolve their hardware setup issues. And then what's that worth? Well, hey, if I could have more level 1 operators and less level 2 operators, that would amount to about a $2 million savings annualized. So probably most of that estimate comes from the difference in the tiers of help. So your level 2s might actually be engineers or product people, and your level 1s, we've got a script, they might work in a phone bank, they might work offshore, and that delta probably comes from there. There's also that part below the line for the COPQ little iceberg. Hey, customers are happier if they don't have to get bounced around from phone call to phone call. So there's some level of customer satisfaction that's kind of a bonus to that $2 million. So again, it's what is it we're going to, the metric, first time call resolution, where do we think we are today? Where would we like to be? This paints that gap. And then what's it worth? So if I were to fix the gap, what do I get in terms of COPQ savings? So we include this little template for you so that you can fill in your own business case. And it's got the nice little fill in the blanks. And if you can fill them in, you probably are 90% there on the way to having a really good business case that we can then turn into a charter. We give you the opportunity to uh, try to fill out this business case template. We've got the template recreated for you here. So think about the projects that you've been assigned or thinking about doing, maybe a project you've done in the past, or at least start to think about, where would I get some of this information in order to be able to fill the template out? So take a few minutes and think about how you might put this together, what some of the challenges might be, And if you're able to fill it all the way out right now, I think it will help in the next sections where we put the project charter together as we go through the rest of the training. So the more you can have something in mind that you might be working on, the more meaning some of the next sections will have in terms of you being able to actually fill them out as we go through the training material. So go ahead and pause the video here and see how much of this template you might be able to fill out for a project. Well, welcome back. Hopefully you were able to put some elements of the business case together. And you'll see as we go through, a lot of things build off each other. So the next step is, hey, let's take that business case and build a charter. So, right, we're just going to roll in. Hey, we think this is an important thing to do. So how do we break it down and sort of put together a sort of project plan with the resources and the different elements we need in order to be successful. So these are going to be the components of the charter that we go through. So we're going to take that business case and make a problem statement from it. Right, what are the metrics? We're going to talk about scope. Right, we're going to talk about timeline and resource information, and then we will be all set to get approval and move forward with the project, at least from a chartering perspective. So let's look at some of the main elements in the charter. We're going to have a problem statement, which really just articulates that pain point that we've identified in the business case. An objective, one of my favorite parts, which really talks about the gap and paints what does success look like. Scope, we'll talk a lot about scope and some other tools we can help to scope. What is the metric that we're actually going to improve? Some other metrics that help keep us honest. And then right, we'll start to put together the charts of the primary and secondary metrics so we can get the baseline. And then as we make improvements, we should see the performance go up or down, whichever is the good level as we execute the project. Here we have the project charter template, and we're going to start by putting the business case into and converting it into a problem statement, or in this case, we just lifted and shifted. So this template we do provide you. It's called, fancily enough, Project Charter .xlsx. So if you ever want to follow along, and we'll have you open it up and try to fill in some of the sections later as part of an exercise. So you can see right here we've got the problem statement. Really, it's just the same as the business case. We've got the year 2005. We've got the baseline first call resolution for hardware setup at 89%. We include the gap of 8%, the sort of the best in class at 97%, and then our savings at $2 million. So we're off and running. The business case, all we did is lift and shift that into the problem statement. All right, then my favorite part of the charter, the one I focus on the most, the project objective. And then we'll talk a little bit about scope as well. So first, we want to look at what is the one metric, not the 15 or the 12. So we do want to settle on a particular metric that we would like to improve. We may have other ones that we're concerned about, and we'll talk about adding them as secondary metrics. But it's much easier to focus a project to move a particular number right up or down the scale, whichever one is in the better direction. And then the other piece of it is how far would we like to go? So how much of the gap would we like to close? So I really like this format. I'm going to improve my metric Y from the current level to some desired level by a date. So whatever the project end time that you've projected, and we'll put that in part of the project plan in the charter as well. So here's an example. I'm going to improve my process cycle time from 21 days to less than 10 days by October 2024. So I know when I'm done. If I hit 10 days or less, the project is complete. And I know what my target is in terms of what are my outlook to how fast I can get from 21 days to 10 days as I execute the DMAIC methodology. Scope, we'll talk more about that as we go, but it also includes the focus tree or the project tree we talked about before. We want to work on a problem that's big enough to make a difference, but small enough that it doesn't take forever to execute. So some of the things we can look at is, well, maybe we fix it at one location versus all locations. Maybe we fix one product type versus all. Maybe we help one customer type versus them all. And just ways that we might narrow the breadth of our project so that we can execute it quickly, build momentum, and we can always add on other pieces as we go. Well, one of the favorite tools we have for helping to scope a project, and we can also use this in the tree analysis that we did before, is called the Pareto Principle, and the tool is a Pareto chart. And it was very simply came out of a study that an economist, Wilfredo Pareto, did back in the early 1900s. And he observed that 80% of the wealth was held by 20% of the land owners. And so we call it the 80-20 rule. And it just so happens that it is prevalent in many situations, and hopefully if it's prevalent in your project, it will help to narrow your scope. So examples, maybe 80% of your phone calls, your outbound calls go to only 20% of your customers. 20% of streets handle 80% of the traffic. So those are the ones that we want to maintain first. Those are the ones that we plow first. If you live in a snow country like I do, 80% of the meals come from 20% of the menu items. So do you want to have a really big menu if in fact you're going to make your money from just a few of the items? 20% of the newspaper has 80% of the news. The rest is ads and pictures. So we're going to use this idea that we can maybe get 80% of the way to our goal by only concentrating on 20% of the inputs or 20% of the defect types. Let's take a look at the chart itself. It's actually quite simple, but packs a lot of information. So it is a bar chart. It's a bar chart that's in the highest to lowest order. So each of our categories, here we've got them A, B, C, and D. We put the tallest one first, and then the second, and the third, and then the fourth. So the bars are in descending order. And then we have a cumulative line, which adds up the bars as we go from left to right. So here's just A by itself. I add A and B together, and I'm at this point. I add A, B, and C together, and I'm at this point. And then A, B, C, and D together, if those are the only four categories, will add up to 100%. And then the idea of using the chart is I'm going to start to the left, and I'm going to go over to the right until I hit 70–80%. So in this case, if I focused on categories A and B, I could fix 80% of the problem, and I could ignore columns C and D temporarily, and perhaps they would go along for the ride, but they have very little leverage compared to the other two categories. So that's the Pareto principle in action. I'm going to leverage the fact that most of the problems come from categories A and B in this case. Also use the idea of the Pareto chart at multiple levels. So just like we did in the tree, going from left to right, we can start off with what, in this case, production line has the most defects, the ones we can might influence the most. Okay, well, it's production line number one. Then we can take number one and break it down, and we say that, hey, product A in production line one has the most defects. And then we can even go to a third level or a fourth level, whichever we might be able to break it down to. And it says that, hey, product part A, B, C, whatever that might be, is the highest, right? Inside product A, inside assembly line number one. So when we have this happen, we can say, hey, if I was to focus on the issues with part ABC, well, it by itself is 35% of all the defects, right? That's a good place to start. One fix gets me 35% of the way to zero defects. So in many cases, we can cascade the Pareto chart to get us to even more actionable level, just like we did with our tree diagrams earlier in this section. Now we're going to show you how to create a Pareto chart inside SigmaXL. So I'm going to show you the screenshots here, and then in 2 slides we'll actually go live and show you the mechanics of actually doing this. All right, so first we're going to open up SigmaXL. So if you don't have that done already, we can go ahead and do that. Once you have SigmaXL open, or you can do it in the opposite order, we want to open up the file that has the Pareto chart data in it, Pareto.xlsx. And then once you have the data there, we're going to highlight it. And then these are the path to create the chart and get the dialog boxes. So first we're going to make sure we've got SigmaXL open. We're going to go to graphical tools. Pareto's under graphical tools, and then the basic Pareto chart. Once you hit that, it's going to ask you what data you want. We're going to click that button, so that's almost always a next. Then this dialog box opens up. We're going to put in our X and our Y. So X is the line number, Y is the defects. We're going to hit next, and then that's going to bring us to this dialog where we can change to 100% or a different number of bars. All right, so let's take a look at the next slide of the at the output, and then we'll actually create the chart. So here is our results, and this looks like a good candidate that meets the Pareto principle. Like we showed in the 3-level chart, this is the same data. Production line 1 is up here, almost to the 80% line by itself. We could maybe add in 2. That's going to get us up above 90%. We can ignore production lines 3 and 4 for right now with regard to this particular defect type. So this meets our 80-20 rule. We may, what I would probably do is focus on production line 1 as it has the lion's share of the defects. So let's go ahead and show you how to um, push the right buttons to get a Pareto chart. So we have SigmaXL open. You can tell that because we have the menu here for SigmaXL and the chart tools. We have the Pareto file open. So you can see the data here in the window. I'm going to highlight the line and defects. So whenever you create a graph or a chart, SigmaXL likes you to highlight the data that you're going to use. And then Pareto charts are under Graphical Tools, Basic Pareto Chart. And then it says, hey, what data do you want? So it already picks the highlighted. We do have data labels in the first row. So that's all good. All right, next it says which column has your X, which column has your Y. So X is going to be the production line, and Y is going to be the number of defects. All right, if you hit finish now, everything would work, but let's just show you a couple other options under next. All right, we've got the ability to change our 100% to something smaller. So again, if you had a whole bunch of categories, you might just want to see the first 80% or 50%. Or I like this option too. I just want to see the top 5 bars or the top 4 bars. We're going to leave everything the way that it was. And we're going to hit finish. And there we get our Pareto chart. All right, and so you can see you can cut and paste that right into PowerPoint or Word or any place else you'd like. It comes right up with the graph menu from Excel. You can change colors, you can change the format. But again, remember our Pareto chart. On the bottom, we have the line number in descending order, the number of defects, and then the cumulative chart here, which shows up here on the right-hand side. So that's how we create a simple Pareto chart inside SigmaXL. Now, what happens if you're not successful? And I probably should have made this graphic stretch out a little bit more so it looked even flatter, but you can see our bars are all about at the same level. Each one adds an equal amount to the 100%. So if I get a chart that doesn't exhibit the 80-20 rule, okay, well, I don't have a way to focus based on the Pareto analysis. Now you can think of perhaps maybe there's a different way to slice the data. So maybe production line isn't a good way to slice it, but maybe product type is, or customer that we deliver to, or maybe it's shift, or maybe it's our supplied raw material. So since it's so easy to create the charts, if you have the data, go ahead and create a number of them to see if you can see the Pareto action in action, where we can concentrate on one type of error and ignore the rest. Again, it's all going to help us with scoping our project, executing it quickly, and getting results. All right, so now that we have our business case, our objective, we've thought about scoping, right, it's time to enter in our primary metric. And in the template that we've given you, you can actually track it, not only from maybe some historical period, but also you can track it as the project progresses. So it would be some, quantifiable measure that I can measure in different time periods. Again, we emphasize we want to have one primary that matches your objective statement per project, and right when we meet our goal, the project is complete. So now it will, if you put the goal in, it will give you a nice linear line to say, right, this is the way we would like to go to get there. In reality, it may not quite happen that way, but we're going to go in every month and plot the real point and see how progress is going as we execute the project. And right in reality, until we implement some type of a change in the process, we should not expect the output to change. So it's not going to just magically happen because we're doing the next phase in the demand project. It will be in the improve phase where we start to execute some process changes before we might see the metric actually move in the desired direction. Also, in the template, we have a space for a secondary metric, and you can copy and paste and add as many secondary metrics as you think you should track. And the idea is that I'm going to keep right the primary metric honest. So, for example, I might be able to produce more units per week, uh, but I could do it simply by adding overtime. So I might see the primary metric of units per week go up, but if I track the number of overtime hours, they would go in the wrong direction. So secondary metrics are there to keep the primary honest. Now, in some cases, right, if we were looking at like the faster, better, cheaper types of metrics, and I wanted to track all three, well, we might hit a home run, and all of them might move in the same direction, in the good direction, as we execute the project. But we're going to be happy if we move the primary metric towards our objective goal, and the other ones at least stay stable and flat. If they move to be better also, that's just a bonus. All right, so now we put it all together. We've got our problem statement here that we got from our business case. We put our objective and our scope over here in this section. We started to plot our primary and secondary metrics. So the last couple pieces, well, when would we like the project to be complete? So we'll put a simple, again, the main process, very simple, 5 milestones, 5 toll gates. So how would we like to divide up our time in order to meet the end date that we have in mind? So it's right not bad to just start off and say, if I want to have this done in 4 weeks, right, we're going to spend a week in each phase. Maybe I need a little more time. Maybe it's going to take a few months. And again, I can divide up the define, measure, analyze, improve, and control timing to match right that end goal. And then finally, what are the resources? Who are the resources? You are going to be the project lead. We put in the sponsor and also our subject matter experts that are going to help us along the way. Now you can also have what we call ad hoc team members. So not everybody all the time, but if you need an IT resource occasionally, right, you can invite them. If you need a finance resource occasionally, you can invite them, but they might not be part of your core team. So we're going to start off here with who are the core folks that are going to work day by day, week by week through the project with you in order to execute the project through the DMAIC process. So now we're going to give you some time to think about the project charter and if you're able to go ahead and start filling it out. So go to the project charter template, projectcharter.xlsx. It is not necessarily part of SigmaXL, but if you have SigmaXL open, you should be able to open the project charter template as a new workbook. And it's got all the different aspects to go in there and see how to change your metrics inside the template. Where we're going to cut and paste our goals and objectives. Here's where our team members go. Here's where the project timing is located. So familiarize yourself with the template and to the best of your ability, go ahead and fill it out, and then you'll have that ready to roll as we continue through the course. So go ahead and pause the video here, explore the template, and see how much of it you might be able to complete at this time. All right, so now it's time to add in some financials to right, give the charter third dimension. What's the COPQ value of doing the work? So think back to what we wrote down as an objective. If we were to accomplish that, where would the value come from? And so when we look at the next few slides, we're going to talk about is the impact one that's going to last forever, or does it have just a one-off component? I'll talk about some of mine where we increased cash flow, or maybe it has both. Maybe it has a immediate little step change, and then we were able to have a year-over-year savings as well. So, right, those are always good. To where will the cost come out of or get added to if we have a revenue increaser? So who's going to see the impact? And then finally, when is it going to happen? So is it going to happen in Q1, Q2, Q4? And we always look at when I've completed the project is when I'm going to start to realize the savings. If I can realize them sooner, hey, even better. And you'll know that by your primary metric as it starts to move, you're actually going to start to realize some of your savings. And so we also say here's a good time to get somebody from finance involved to have some discussions about how you might calculate the savings from fixing some of the cost of poor quality elements. All right, so here we just have it sort of organized in a little tree for you. So again, is the impact going to be each and every month for ever and ever? So if I take, say, 10 hours out of the process flow, and those 10 hours are labor that I save, as long as the process can run that way forever, I always have that 10 hours of savings. Right, some of our one-off impacts. The one that comes to my mind is cash flow. If I can bring in some deadbeat people that owe me money, and I can come up with a project that brings them forward, and now I've collected that cash. Right, I've now had a cash impact in that particular quarter or month, and then it's going to kind of just roll forward from that point. But hey, these are great projects as well, and maybe you'll have some that have both. Then we said, well, where does it actually come from? So is it a cost reduction? Do I get more sales? Hey, that's great. Is there some either capital investment that I have to make in order for the change to happen, which again, that's sort of a one-time, or do I get capital savings for this year that I can roll into something else? So an example would be if I can get more throughput from my current production line and I don't have to double or triple it, right? I don't have to expend that capital this year. All right, and then sort of the realization schedule. When can I count the money? And again, typically it'll be towards the improve control phase of the project. But this is another good point to look at scale and scope. The faster I can get to savings, the quicker that they're going to get rolled back into the business. So if I can do a smaller project and start to get savings in the second quarter, and then do the next one and have savings in the fourth quarter, well, I've already got, 2, 3 months or 2 or 3 quarters of savings, and now I'm on to my third project already. Whereas if I did a really big project, maybe the savings wouldn't come until the second or third quarter next year. So I've spent all that time without getting those incremental savings along the way. All right, so we're going to have some savings, and we got to know when the savings are going to appear, and that goes along with the project schedule. All right, so just a little sense check here. Again, our savings are going to be tied to right a higher level business imperative, like the one we showed with material cost savings. Our project might have been the punch press scrap rate, but as I save money there, that is going to trickle back up to the overall material costs for the company. So as long as we did our tree diagram or we use the Pareto analysis to get down to the actionable level, right, we should be safe there. We want to set realistic goals. Again, the faster I can get to the goal, the faster I can get to some savings. You never want to necessarily on your first project say I'm going to close 100% of the gap, especially if you're at sort of a 50% yield right now. You're not going to get to 100% yield in that first project. As far as right putting a value on project and the project portfolio, most companies do an annualized benefit. So even if the benefit comes in the fourth quarter, right, we would say over a year, this project would save this much. When I worked for the federal government, they had a 7-year budget palm cycle, they called it. And hey, they already had the template. We filled it in. Right, you could see what the project was worth across that whole 7-year period with inflation and right everything else baked in. But that's the way they did business. Right, that's the way we put it in to their system. And then make sure we've got the finance folks involved. We don't want to ever get crossed up in stating financials against rules for reporting. So, right, typically projects are going to roll up to the separate accounting rules for how we're going to do profit loss and all those good things, but we never want to get right outside of those with our projects. All right, so in this slide, we're trying to put together, you might have some really good A projects. I think you're going to have a portfolio across all of these different types. I guess this is kind of stating the obvious. If I could find all kinds of projects that were going to impact, right, the income statement, right, either by higher revenue or lower cost, I would do those all day long. Or right, getting my money faster or paying it out slower. So right, we're going to say right, those are going to give those a gold star, an A. Those that impact right working capital, where I don't have to expend capital, right, might be the next most desirable. Right then, cost avoidance. Hey, I see lots of these, and you know what? Eventually, these add up to that. So, if you right put enough pennies together, eventually you're going to impact your cost part of your income statement. And then, right, these might be the lowest in terms of can I put dollar amounts to them, but some of them would right put you out of business. So I have to meet my government controls. And right, I've done a lot of design projects where we had to meet an FAA requirement or a Department of Transportation requirement. Well, if you don't meet it, you don't get to make and sell the product. So we didn't get a lot of savings, but by executing the project, we were able to move forward with the business. So just a different way to look at it. But obviously, if we can do things that are more the top and bottom line of an income or cash flow statement, those are the ones that are going to come and be executed first. All right, so our little roles and responsibilities chart here. So selecting projects, that comes from the business, right? We're trying to improve a certain KPI. Uh, the belt, is going to own the right DMAIC process. When we get back to implementation, we're going to do a handoff back to the process owner, and then we're going to say, hey, we're going to go check every once in a while if everything's going well. And again, we want to might do that handoff, give that back to the process owner. Right? You can see finance is sprinkled in here all the way across as part of the process. Uh, Pretty heavy up to define measure. Then, unless there's a big change, then they're going to come back in and be uh, more heavy in the control when we book the savings. And then in many companies and where I am today, we do an audit, especially for the bigger dollar projects, either 6 months or a year later. So we'll get the process owner, somebody from the DMAIC Black Belt team, and some finance folks, and we'll go through and make sure we're sustaining the gain uh, and keeping the money. In our handy folder of templates, we do have a benefits calculation template that might give you some ideas of how to put the cost savings, the COPQ savings together. Certainly, you can use that if you have one that your finance folks then use that. But keep it simple. If I can tell you, a lot of times I'll have people come to me and I just, don't know how to calculate the savings, and I'll say, well, what's our goal? Well, we think we can take, about 100 hours a month out of the workload by doing this project. We're going to write some macros. We're going to have better data that comes into the input. We're going to standardize the output templates. And I'm like, okay, well, shoot, $100 a month times 12 months, that's 1,200 hours times, like $100 an hour, $75 an hour, $125 an hour, whatever you want. Hey, that's some good dollars, right? So let's not get over calculated, right? We can put that in an Excel spreadsheet, 1,200 hours times, whatever rate we want to use, right? That's going to equal my savings. Now, if you have more dimensions, lots of little COPQ items, this template's going to help you to think about those and record them. The good news is, if we do a good job here in define, validate that we've got the problem in measure. If we meet our objective, well, we should just have to review this when we get to control. So if we did our homework well, we're just going to say, yeah, we booked this savings when we meet our objective and get into the control phase. All right, so however your particular company works financials, that's the way that you should also look at the financials for a DMAIC project. All right, so here we are. We've gotten some of the basics of our projects together. And so we've looked at, hey, how might we go about selecting a project? And we talked about that tree, or that focus tree, to get from a high level business imperative down to an actionable part of the process that we could actually make improvement. Again, we're very process focused. What process are we going to make better in order to get our savings? We talked about refining the scope. right, using both that tree analysis to get down to the right y as a function of x level. Right, we can also use Pareto analysis. Also remember the high-level process flow we did with the left and right boundary. So that's part of our scoping mechanism as well. We went through the elements of a project charter. We've given you a template. So hopefully now you can go as the belt, as the project lead, put that together with your sponsor, your champion, your process owner, and a little help from your finance guy. And right, they're going to help you with the initial finance calculations. All right, and these are the body of knowledge elements that support these support those, I guess you could say, the summary elements. So building the business case and the charter. How do you do a Pareto chart? Project metrics, right? So we have our primary and secondary metrics, and then finally our financial capture of COPQ elements.